So if there is one quality about myself that I would have to say that I truly do genuinely love, it would be my ability to not overthink things. I don't know when this started, but at a certain point, I got tired of nothing changing in my life. I got tired of not progressing and moving forward. And so I decided, you know what? I need to stop overanalyzing things, overanalyzing the outcome of situations, and just act. And I'll deal with the consequences if there will be any later. And I think that that mode of thinking is what's responsible for helping me move forward and get things done in life. So I know it's a big deal for a lot of people, and I thought I would give my 2 cents on how to stop overthinking. If you're not gonna watch the full video, the short answer is that you want to believe in yourself. That is how you stop overthinking. But if you want to watch the whole thing, and I'll explain it to you right now. Understand that overthinking, it's really nothing more than fear. It is your fear kicking in, telling you that what I'm about to embark upon, what I'm about to do, is gonna set me into a place of danger, and I don't want that. That is our brain's instinctual fear parameters, where we don't get ourselves into any level of danger. It's important that you need to understand what fear is. Most times the none fear is extremely illogical. I'll share with you an example that Earl Nightingale, one of my favorite people to listen to, he used this really good example about fear. So essentially what you want to do is imagine that you've got this 12-foot plank in front of you. It's a really long wooden plank, and it's about, let's say, 7 inches thick, 4 feet wide. So it's a really sturdy plank. Now let's say I put that plank on the ground in front of you and told you to walk on it. There's a good chance that you would probably walk on it because there is no danger, there's no immediate threat to you walking on the plank that's right in front of you on the ground. However, if we took that same exact plank and put it between 2 skyscrapers in New York, okay, you're 2,000 feet above the sky, I put that plank and I laid it across 2 buildings and I told you to walk across that plank, what would happen is most of us would be fearful, we would get paralyzed, and we wouldn't walk the plank because the circumstances have changed. Now that's the most important part to understand. The ability, your ability to walk across the plank is still the same, but the only thing that's changed is now your circumstances and the perceived threat of that circumstance. If you remove the context, remove the skyscrapers, you can still walk that plank. But it's now the fact that you have this, your mind is warping and it's going crazy thinking about the possibility of you falling down to your death. Now, we can take this same idea and apply it to our lives. We already have the ability to do great things. We truly do. We have the ability to wow ourselves, to wow the world, but we get fearful because of the idea of the circumstances. We assume that things are not going to work out. We assume that we're going to fail. The only way to get over that fear is to learn to believe in yourself. But even more than believing yourself is to believe in the truth of the realities that you're about to embark upon. Fear is so illogical. What happens when you want to do something like drop out of school is you start thinking about all the consequences that could happen if you drop out of school. And that's not to say that those consequences aren't real, because yes, those things could happen. But how convenient is it that we forget about our ability to do well and to do great things in life? We have this frame of thinking where we think about the worst case scenario first, and that overshadows the great possibilities. That overshadows our self-worth. You have greatness inside of you, and you have to keep that at the foremost part of your brain at all times. Overthinking really just comes from you overanalyzing all of the worst case scenarios that could happen, but chances are that whenever you embark on something that's greater than what you are, or that's fearful, or that's scary, those realities are not going to come into fruition. I dropped out of college 3 times. Now, do you think that there was no fear whatsoever? Of course. There was a little bit of fear, but if you give into that fear, that stops you from making that decision in the first place. So instead of focusing on the fear, I focused on my ability to do well in a situation, my ability to survive without a degree. So you shift your focus from the illogical fears into your own self-ability. That is how you stop overthinking. Fear is irrational, and I implore you to do some research on what fear really is. And if you want to really just start making yourself a non-overthinker, start taking actions as if you weren't afraid. Get your mind and get your body in the habit of taking actions as if you had no fear whatsoever. And you'll start to slowly condition yourself to becoming a risk taker, to becoming someone who doesn't overthink and who doesn't overanalyze his or her situations. Understand what overthinking is, and you can start changing it, attacking it little by little. Peace.